I am looking at my cellular device, and I'm seeing that it is Tuesday, March 11th, which means tomorrow is Wednesday, March 12th, which means it's the first official day of the NFL year. However, there have been re-signings, cuts, signings, trades that have started coming in since the end of last week. A lot pertaining to the Buffalo Bills, a lot pertaining to the New England Patriots, a lot pertaining to the Chicago Bears. If you talk to a lot of experts, you would say right now the Super Bowl is going to be the New England Patriots against the Chicago Bears just based solely on off-season moves.
You consider what New England did a lot?
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the people that write about this stuff, the people that tweet about this stuff, the people that go on Facebook and report things to their friends and family. Early on, we're looking at the Patriots and the Bears as the top two teams in the offseason.
I would pay for George Wendt to come out and do a skit for the Bears.
Right.
I would pay to see something like that, speaking of the Bears. Now that you got Ben Johnson and all the moves that you made, like they said.
Could we get him in the studio here? What's it going to cost to get George Wendt?
You have a lot of connections. I mean, you do a lot of media stuff, so I think you'd be able to swing that.
I do, but what kind of cost is it going to cost to get George Wendt here in studio at WEBR? Do I got to call up the owner of the station? Do I got to call up the owner of the station and say, hey, guess what? We got George Wendt. He's going to take a few pictures in front of the WEBR banner. It's going to be great for the station. Can you cut me a check?
Do you think you'd do like a deal if you get Mike Myers and Lauren Michaels with them too?
There's the potential to do that, but let's get back on track. We only have a half hour here tonight. We are going to talk about the Buffalo Bills, who finished in the AFC Championship game this year, losing once again to the Kansas City Chiefs. High expectations once again going into this offseason. Defensive improvements definitely need to be made. A lot of people talked about getting Josh Allen another big weapon at wide receiver. So far, as we are 4 or 5 days into the unofficial period where things can happen, Josh Allen lost a receiver, gained a receiver,
gained two running backs.
Gained two running backs. We right now are on the fence about what exactly is going to happen in the secondary. But the big story in the offseason about, 7 weeks ago, Myles Garrett wants to be traded.
Wants out of Cleveland. He's not going to play another down for the Cleveland Browns.
He's coming to Buffalo. I heard a gentleman in the Vizzy line at Highmark Stadium tell me directly Myles Garrett is not happy in Cleveland, and he's coming to Buffalo for a 7th-round pick and 200 chicken wings from the Anchor Bar.
Anchor Bar of all places, too.
Yes.
Yeah, and 11:30 Sunday morning, things change a little bit.
And you have these fly-by-night media organizations. I use the term loosely, saying, oh, the Bills have called the Browns about Myles Garrett. Well, no kidding.
Brandon Beane, Andrew Berry always make trades. Wyatt Teller, Amari Cooper.
No kidding they called the Browns. Why would you not call the Browns if the word is out there? But a difference maker like Myles Garrett, you're not going to flip him for a 6th-round pick and a conditional pick in 2047.
2 firsts, 2 seconds in different years.
Right. In the way the philosophy has been established by the Bills management, which I love, is you're going to build from the draft. You're going to supplement with these free agent pickups, and it's worked out quite well. You're not going to go out there and overpay, overspend for a huge free agent signing like a lot of these teams are doing. New England had all this cap space, and they signed 4 players, and the majority of that cap space has been eaten up.
Right.
Then, what was it, 2 weeks later, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, DK Metcalf wants out of Seattle.
Warmer climate.
He's done. He does not want to play there anymore. They're going to get rid of all their people. They're done. It's over. The Bills are going to trade for DK Metcalf. They're going to figure out a way to get them a 2nd and a 4th-round pick and still pay DK Metcalf $20 to $30 million a year, even with everything they have going on with Josh Allen's salary, with re-signing Greg Rousseau, with getting Shakir re-signed, with with everything they have going on, they are still going to find a miraculous way to get DK Metcalf and Myles Garrett in the same offseason. Who needs a punter? Who needs a kicker? We can just cut them. We'll save salary that way. Get rid of the training staff.
2-point conversion after every touchdown.
Fire Billy Buffalo. We will get that money somehow, and we will get these two players here in Western New York, here in Orchard Park. Call Tempo. Get the table booked. Call Bar Bill. We're coming for lunch. Myles Garrett and DK Metcalf and Davante Adams and Joey Bosa are all coming to Buffalo. They're all on the same plane together. They're on their way to sign their deals. And we're going to be fine, and we're going to go 17-0, go undefeated in the playoffs, and we're going to finally win that Super Bowl next year.
I think the biggest thing, as you said it a couple minutes ago, you draft and develop your own players, and this year has so far been the perfect example with Shakir, Rousseau, and Bernard all re-signing their contracts, and Josh as well. We all knew that was going to happen regardless, but you take a look at it and draft and develop, and that's a big thing. And something we talked off air is that the teams who go and spend all the money on the first day of the legal tampering period or the first day of free agency aren't usually the good teams in the league. They're the ones that make those dumb decisions financially, and then when you have to make those tough business moves, you got to make them, and then you don't use your cap space very wisely. And teams like San Francisco, Detroit, Buffalo, Green Bay, I think is a good example. You don't spend the money right away, and you do your plug-and-play type players, and then you have a successful team over a course of many years.
Exactly.
I think that's the biggest thing, and you've seen that so far in the past, what has it been, a week since we've got a bunch of the signings with Shakir starting, and then Bernard, and then Rousseau, and then Ferguson, and Josh Allen, and all that. Now you look at the Steelers are talking about, even with DK, that Aaron Rodgers is going to sign there possibly today. 2 years, $90 million?
Well, according to the lower-level media sources and outlets, Aaron Rodgers is going to wait to the last possible minute because he apparently needs a spotlight.
Right. We are also talking about Aaron Rodgers of all people.
Stop it. I'm not going to let you talk negative. Hey, shut up.
What?
I'm not going to let you
be quiet, Pasquale.
I'm not going to let you talk negatively about Aaron Rodgers in my presence, okay? If you're listening to the program, you wonder.
He did a lot of favors for the Bills. I mean, we wouldn't,
If you're listening to the program, you're wondering what the heck is going on here in the WEBR studios. You're listening to Tuesday Night Talk. My name is Pasquale Maggiore. My co-host for tonight is TJ Schratz. So, TJ, before I get to what you just said, I hate iPhones. Now, getting back to what you said, you laid out a very good point, very good argument. So the news comes out 2 days ago, the first quote-unquote domino falls. Myles Garrett gets re-signed by the Cleveland Browns. Bills Mafia upset. They were expecting Myles Garrett to be here.
There goes the offseason.
There goes the offseason. How dare Brandon Beane not sell whatever he possibly can to get Myles Garrett? He re-signs with the Cleveland Browns. All right, that's off the table. And then when did the news come down? The day before yesterday, I believe, DK Metcalf.
And that was right at, literally, they announced a Josh Allen contract extension. DK was like 5 minutes after.
DK Metcalf traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There goes that one. So what's next? Who else is out there? Who are the big names that the Bills are going to look at signing in free agency?
Leonard Floyd.
We're going to get there. Don't jump the lead. My offseason wish. Why do I say which when I say wish? My offseason wish list, emote stupid, was definitely Davante Adams. I thought I am an idiot when it comes to the salary cap. I have no idea what goes on with the salary cap.
Salary cap.
I am told that we're $3 million over the salary cap, and then all of a sudden we're $13 million under, but then we sign a player that makes $17 million a year. So in my mind, that puts us $4 million over the salary cap. But no, there's voided years. This player took this amount of money in this year. So now we actually have $37 million of salary cap room, and then we go sign three players, $13 million a year each, which in my brain puts us $2 million over the salary cap. But no, Adam Schefter reports somehow miraculously we now have $17.5 million of salary cap room. So Davante Adams is out there. We're looking at it anywhere from $15, $17, $20, $25 million per year. I thought that would be a great move. I am a big fan of Davante Adams. And then Davante Adams, all of a sudden, Davante Adams signs with the Los Angeles Rams. Davante Adams off the board. Who if you had a wish list, TJ's wish list right in front of you, if you could sign anybody in this offseason or trade for anybody in this offseason, who was your dream player?
If I did say Myles Garrett?
That's fine. I'm
right. I mean, because you look at the defensive line, and that's what we needed. So, I mean, right now, for who's on the board, I never go into an offseason looking for like a wish list. I want something that makes sense. And I go back to the point that with Brandon Beane, I like how he works with the cap. Very rarely does he get in the cap trouble. So I don't really have a specific player, to be honest. I try and look at every year different. But I think it's, to me, how the contracts are drawn out a little bit. So you can go and get somebody. Like you Campbell is out there for the D-line. Bring him in for a one-year deal, something like that, like a veteran. Yeah. And you go draft and you develop. So I don't have a player per se, but you definitely need help on the D-line, the D tackles. And I'm intrigued by Michael Hoyt because he's a versatile guy. Started off as a D tackle, D-end, linebacker, hybrid. Also plays special teams, and I think he had 2 or 3 field goals blocked just last year for the Rams. So I don't have a player per se, but just I wonder if the Bills have a different strategy going into the defense this year because of what's happened the past couple of years in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, in my mind, I'm like, okay, let me see who they sign first and see if that really makes sense, or is it like a camp body?
We saw the defense just get totally worn down, beaten down throughout the course of last season. And do they need some fresh bodies? Do they need some fresh faces to kind of rejuvenate what they have going on? Is this the last? Are we going to see some more changes on the defense to see what happens? The secondary is still...
Do they bring back Vaughn? Do they bring back Rasul? What are you going to do with the CB2? I mean, that's the other thing. You got to talk about Asante Samuel Jr. out there.
We're going to get there. Relax.
No, but I'm saying when you talk about players, too, in the defense.
Yes, I know.
You're right.
So another domino that fell. I'm going to keep using that reference because a lot of people like to keep using that reference and that analogy. Von Miller, Sunday, gone.
So we think.
I
think he may come back still.
What are we talking about money-wise, though, if he comes back?
5-6 mil.
Do you think he's willing to play for that?
Well, so what? It was 15 for the dead cap, $8 million they saved for the year. So maybe you're getting back on a 1 year, 6 or 7 mil. I don't even know if that number really works out, but I mean, I could see him coming back because the fact that they said, pundits and all that, and we just were kind of talking about the national media, both sides are open to a return. So it almost seems like let's rethink about everything because he's a situational player now too.
That's why I don't want him back. I want a guy that's going to be out there every down.
But the Bills don't have a player. It's very rare other than like linebackers or safeties. I mean, your line
the rotation.
The rotation. That's why I'm saying I don't think you'll get that though.
Yeah, I'm happy because I think he didn't deliver. The injury obviously hurt him. He didn't live up to the expectations that we had for him. So, unfortunately, this is the NFL. It doesn't work out for everybody. And sorry, Vaughn, but it's not going to work out here. If we do go and re-sign him, that's a different story as a situational player, like you mentioned. But I believe there's more work to be done. Once again, especially with the secondary, because I think that we still have to work out a couple deals with a couple players. I saw DeMar Hamlin.
He's not coming back. I hope not.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care about that. You need cornerbacks like Shaq Griffin. There's that cornerback from Tampa. There's still players out there that could hopefully help. But, I mean, even for here, I don't want DeMar back.
I was excited to hear that Sam Martin is no longer with the Bills, which means that Tyler Bass can rejuvenate his career and become a great kicker again.
Yeah, we have Jake Camrata, or I think that's his name, from Tampa Bay, who's been a punter for a couple of years down there. So they still have a punter on the roster as well. And I'm somebody who believed that the past couple of years, maybe not this past year, but, I mean, you look at Matt Hawk when he was holding for Bass. Bass was a very good field goal kicker. And then once they released him and they brought in Sam Martin, great punter, older, came in from Denver. He clearly had his struggles with the field goal, but obviously last year as the year went on, he still produced a little bit, but still, it made me wonder a little bit that, maybe he needs somebody different for holding.
I think he does. I think he's been, his name has been dragged through the mud because he hasn't had a good holder.
It's possible.
Yeah. And then as before we came on the air here this evening, the news, Ty Johnson has re-signed. We had that drama a few weeks back, James Cook on a Twitch stream or an Instagram stream.
TikTok, whatever
the kids are using these days, talking about how he wants $15 million a year. No, thank you. If that's the case, we don't need you. I don't think at this day and age, unless Saquon Barkley is an entirely different story.
Yeah.
That was a huge contract, a big raise, but I don't know. I can't see giving James Cook that much money, especially when there's other needs we need to address.
Running backs don't typically get that amount of money anyways.
No.
So I don't know if I'm willing to pay that, but I'm sure, once again, Brandon Bean, the front office, will talk to Cook and the representatives and hopefully iron something out that makes sense. And if they don't come to an agreement, thank you very much. But running backs are in the draft, and there's been plenty of good backs drafted in the later rounds of the draft as well. So,
yeah, and there's still players out there. There's still plenty of time.
Ty Johnson signed for 2 years, too. I mean, that's right. So that wasn't a one-year deal like Darrington Evans, who just signed as well.
So something came out Monday, I believe, too, that the Rams, if they could not find a trade partner for Cooper Kupp, they were just going to release him. There's an option there. I know a lot of Bills fans that have been let down by not getting Myles Garrett, not getting DK Metcalf, will want to get Cooper Kupp. I'm not sure exactly how great of a fit that would be, especially with this mysterious salary cap. I mean, can you get him on a one-year deal and then give him a chance to be a free agent after that and see what happens? Again, I still don't understand this salary cap. You tell me one thing and then it looks like another.
I think the other thing, too, Josh Palmer, who they just signed, he is a good he breaks off the coverage pretty well. So with Cooper Kupp, I think the other thing as well, he's kind of like that, shifty, like a Shakir, but also he's been injury-prone in the past, too, which is why he's never is why he never was traded so far, I think. Aside from what the other team would be willing to give up for him, but he's had injury concerns over the past couple of years, Cooper Kupp. So, I mean, how much are you willing to give for him in a trade anyways? And how much are you willing to spend for him, even if he is a free agent?
Yeah, and what I would tell these Bills fans that are overreacting to these moves and lack thereof is like, all right, do you want to finish 6-11 and make the first day of free agency be a bigger day than the playoffs? Do you want to, do you want to go back to having a middle-of-the-road quarterback, and then you're grabbing all these players to put around him to try to field a good team? I listen to New York sports talk radio all the time because I'm a big Mets fan, and, Lord knows nobody around here can carry on a solid conversation about baseball, or they're not allowed to, one of the two. But I'm listening to these sports talk show hosts talk about who's going to be the next quarterback for the Giants, who's going to be the next quarterback for the and I'm like, I don't miss these days at all. I will take a slow day on the first day of free agency to have an established MVP quarterback like Josh Allen 7 days a week, twice on Sundays. So what? The month of March isn't going to be as fun as it used to be because you have the signing of Derek Dockery and Langston Hughes and Langston Walker. That got one and the same. Those are your big moves, and you don't do anything.
The days of Dave Moore and Terrell Owens for a year.
Right. Nobody wants to go back to those days.
No.
And the thing that makes it worse is these bloggers and reporters and YouTube people and podcasters. Again, I mentioned today, Leonard Floyd released at, I think it was like 3:30, and then somebody comes out, oh, he'd be a great fit for the Bills. And then 45 minutes later, oh, the Atlanta Falcons have signed Leonard Floyd. So you're just basically putting stuff out there to get people to interact with you.
Or players have been traded to different teams this weekend, too. Same thing.
Such as?
Kyrie Elam to the Panthers, but never happened. Never happened.
Wonder why.
Wow.
So we got about 5 minutes left here on Tuesday Night Talk. We call it TNT. What are your expectations for the next few weeks leading up to the draft?
I mean, the Bills just got 2 more fifth-round picks. I'm be curious if they get a trade, because right now you got a pick in round 1, 2, and 2. 2 picks in round 4, 2 picks in round 5, 3 in round 6. So you have a total of 10 picks to use. So I see Bean maybe pulling off a couple of trades. Not necessarily for players, but draft position and jockey. And I think you'll see draft and develop. And as I mentioned earlier, you'll see some plug-and-play type veterans maybe that won't break the bank, but could be solid roles with the defense. I think you still need to find another receiver, too. I mean, I don't know if Amari even comes back.
I don't think there's a chance.
Yeah, I mean, you still maybe got to find another receiver.
I don't think he's a good fit. I don't like the way that.
You don't think the injury played into that a little bit?
No, because apparently he had some other stuff going on. Which, remember, he disappeared for that week and a half.
Yeah,
we can't have that. I don't care
what if it was something kind of serious though that wasn't
It's the NFL.
But okay, what if there's a death in the family?
It's the NFL. That would have been reported. We knew when Josh's grandmother passed away.
Right, but, okay, I think Josh is a more polarizing figure than Amari. So I think in that type of situation, Amari's quiet.
this is the NFL. These guys are getting paid a lot of money to perform one day a week. I'm not a big fan of if it was baseball and you're playing 162 games, that's a different story. Even the NBA, they play 76 games or whatever they play in the NBA. Take a couple days off. Most of the players don't play a full season anyways.
80-something.
Different story for a different time.